Welcome to our 30th anniversary. I'm Herb Coach, president of the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club. We've done quite a bit since our last anniversary. Lionel came here to beta test its new Base 3 system. We started prototypical running with the big bridge down. There has been much layout embellishment and more. Ken Yeager takes us through this latest update. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, welcome to Reality Mirrors a Dream. I'm your host, Ken Yeager. It is hard to believe that it's been 5 years since CLRC's 25th anniversary train came rumbling into town. Now, in just a few moments, the club's 30th anniversary train will be pulling into the station. Inside the first freight car, we will be reminded of how the club was started. The other cars consist of specific accomplishments the club has achieved during the last few years and even a little bit more. Southern Railroad is very proud to bring us this very special train. Look, here it comes now! The Dream Car.
Once upon a time, the Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club was only a dream. It was a dream held by Jerry Bretschneider. You see, as a boy, Bretschneider had founded the Lionel Railroad Club of Milwaukee in 1947. During a military career, he was stationed in San Francisco and St. Louis, in which he took the opportunity to form similar Lionel Railroad clubs as well. At one point, he decided Chicago, the nation's railroad capital, should have its own club. Bretschneider decided that March 19, 1994 would be the date that Chicagoland Lionel Railroad Club would have its organizational meeting. In the weeks prior to the meeting, Bretschneider did all he could to get the word out. This included leaving stacks of flyers at Chicago area hobby shops. The meeting was held at Chicago's Union Station. On that day, approximately 14 people who had the same dream attended, and membership dues of $10 was collected.
At the Rosemont Horizon, they have a hobby show in the fall, and the Milwaukee Club was there with their layout, and they had a sign-up sheet for those who would be interested in a club in Chicago. And my vision was about this club was number one, to meet other people in this area. You go to train shows and you buy things, but you never really talk to people that much and find out what they're doing, how they operate and whatnot. And the club gave us a chance to interact with the other people in the same vein as you were doing, Lionel-sized trains, and then to someday have a permanent home like we have now.
I originally saw a flyer in the Berwyn Hobby Shop for a startup of a new railroad club. I had recently gotten back into railroading through my son, set up the train around the Christmas tree, and then it goes on from there, of course. That initial day at the hobby shop, I was excited because I had always wanted, ever since I was a young lad, to have a big layout to play on. So I thought that a club like this would be exactly what I'm looking for.
We happen to be passing through Union Station, and I see a meeting going on in the restaurant. And it looked interesting, and I heard the word trains and train club mentioned. So I kind of wandered in. And there were 8 people, myself was 9. And that was the original meeting of the train club. We talked about a lot of different things, forming a train club, building maybe a modular layout, and we decided that we would have a second meeting sometime in the end of March, which we did. We met at Berwyn Toy Trains on 29th and Harlem. And at that point in time, we had put out flyers for the meeting, and at that point in time, we had about 30 people at the meeting. And I was, at the time, at first, just from the February meeting, I thought, oh, it's a nice idea, but is this really going to happen? And you know, everybody has dreams and hopes for things. And my dream was, I'd like to see us have a permanent building, a permanent layout, and a bunch of other things where not only could we run trains, the guys could meet in a social gathering type situation. So after this meeting in March, we actually formed the club formally, and we were incorporated as of April 1st. Well, after about the first 5 years in business as a club, we were doing fairly well. We were making club cars we'd design them, Lionel, build them, we'd sell them. We made some decent money that way. And so we decided it was time to possibly start thinking about a building, which we thought about since day one. So the town hall group, or the board, appointed me as chairman of the Housing Search Committee. I drafted several people to be on it, and the first thing we did is we discussed and set parameters of where we wanted to be. That being said, next thing was finding a place. Well, after about a 1.5 year search, we, maybe 2 years even, looking at 20, 30 different industrial buildings, we couldn't find anything within the areas that we wanted to be in, so we had to widen our search, and we did. And we came to New Lenox, and we found the building we're currently in. It's a double-wide condominium in a light industrial area, and it was perfect for us. I walked into the building, it was brand new, just built, 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. It was like a blank canvas, and we could paint whatever we wanted on it, which was kind of what we wanted. So, after having an open house and having the members of our club come in, as many as we could get, we decided this is where we want to be. So I started negotiations with the owners, and we structured a contract that was agreeable to both of us. We little things that may seem incidental then turned out to be very important. For instance, these buildings don't have back doors on them. That was one of the prerequisites we had to have, a back door for ingress and egress in case something were to happen. But so we got that. That's the type of negotiations we went through. Next thing we did was send an offer. Went back and forth a few times. It was accepted, and then we decided, upon closing, we're going to put the building in trust. We wanted to make sure the building stood on its own, where nobody had to co-sign the loan. That being said, we did it. We closed on it July 23rd of 2004 in escrow. Right after that, the next thing we had to do was apply for a zoning variance, because we wanted to have more than 6 or 8 people in the building at any one time. So that took quite a while. We went in front of the, Land Usage Commission in Will County. We went through everything. I don't know how many committee meetings I went to, but we finally got our variance approved at 8-3 Assembly, which means we could have, a couple hundred people in here, which is what we needed for it to be the club we envisioned. Then in, I think it was February or March of 2005, we started on the build-outs, being the mezzanine and everything. We moved the bathroom from one side of the building, and bathrooms are now right next to each other on the other side. We have a large mezzanine. We actually have a train layout in the mezzanine. We got all that done. It took quite a while, but through some additional financing, we didn't have to pay anything for it. So then on October 29th, 2005, we had our grand opening, and it was quite an event. We had the ribbon cutting, we had the mayor there, we had the chief of police there, the fire chief there, we had a vice president in charge of marketing from the Union Pacific came, and several others. And it was really quite nice. We must have had close to 100 people for that. And that was when the club was officially open and ready to go.
The Beta Base 3 testing car.
I guess I'll sweep all the channels. You guys use all the TMCC channels, right?
So Andy's going around to see how the signal is to the engine. And we're realizing that the horn is going quite well all the way around.
That's what, by the way, that's with the stock antenna. The channel 8 was 100%. That's good. So,
Is that what you just used, was 8?
well, I used 9, but I'm saying 9 had lower ratings than 8, so 8 would do even better. So where their antenna helped was on channels 1 through 4.
Bluetooth side of the app's going to be available to anybody, right? So it's going to be just like the Lion Chief. Then when you press the connect, to go over to the legacy side,
Yeah.
It'll detect if it's connecting to a base 3.
You just connected? Yep. Flashing.
Now, one thing that people were concerned about is what happens when you get a phone call?
Do what I do and don't ever take a phone call. Use the halt button and just stop everything.
Well, that's
No,
So here's your
we
base,
don't like when
here's
people
your
do
base
that.
3.
Better than your legacy base with the same antenna.
Boom!
Hey, goal achieved. Time to go home.
We're at the end of the day of beta testing, day 1 of 2. What did we do today, Andy?
Well, we did some basic signal testing, and we did a packet error rate. So using a cab 1L to communicate with the bases, the legacy base that you have installed, and then the base.
I know you positioned yourself by the stairs as kind of a hidden spot that would have some kind of interference, and you wanted to see how good the cab 2 was, or base 2 was, versus the base 3.
So the testing we did this morning was for the cab 2 communication to the base 2 and then to the base 3. And with the base 2's antenna on the base 3 did slightly outperform the base 2, which is really good finding for us.
It seemed like, everything, in terms of the RF communication between the cab and the base.
And RF is radio frequency?
Radio frequency communication, the communication specifically between the cab and the base. That testing went well. It, showed us that we do have some channels that are crowded with other things and don't work well, and some of the other
And that would be
channels
unique
do.
to our building
Unique
versus
to our building.
the equipment.
Yeah.
We are checking out to see how stressed the system is. A lot of interaction with our members and the Lionel team. Dave Olson right there. Andy over there. Trains are running all over the layout. Belt line and the big layout.
Can you latch up? You remember this one. Lion Chief plus 2.0 with Bluetooth. Bluetooth Legacy and a Legacy and a TMCC together.
Yeah, those can all be lashed up but it has to be set to TMCC.
TC. No, that I understand.
Lowest denomination.
Right, 100 steps.
Yep.
See,
Is it 100 or 32?
32. So we got up to 15 at once.
Yeah.
That's 15 at once, all blowing the whistle at the same time.
Okay.
And then over that's when you see latency issues.
Okay, so we should,
Right?
You wanna try that again?
theoretically, you could have like 20 guys out here running locos, and if they're not all blowing the whistle at the same time, you'd be all right.
yeah.
So it's only with the whistle and
No, when there's activity.
constant command.
Yeah,
so,
if everybody's changing the throttle at the same time.
Okay.
But that would be a good thing. I'd like to see our guys do that.
What, you want to crap out my base?
Oh yeah, we do.
Gotcha.
Well, I think you want to see how strong the base is.
Yeah, I do have to.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a stress test. Everybody blow their horns for 15 seconds. Starting now. Blow your horn. And tell them if they want to continue. So the horn test is working well. Again, we're trying to see if the horns drop out, saturating the system. Keep the horns going. Keep the horns going. Everybody has to be doing the horn at the same time because that horn activation saturates the system all at the same time.
Have them stop for a second.
Okay, if everybody could stop. There's been a lot of reporting about your engines flickering when everybody had their horns on. And that is taxing the system. Now, it turns out that it still was registering positive, but it's right at the limit of the system. So we're kind of hitting the line right now. We're going to see what else we can do. The base 3 was raised to a different position, and we'll see if that changes anything. You can see from the base 3, all those lights flickering. That means a lot of signals are going into the base. And the signals are being driven by Dave Olson from his computer. Everything now is being done by Dave's input. Engineers, we're having some good results. What they tested right now, they found some shortcomings. And you can probably tell that Dave is on the phone. He's on the phone with Lionel. And they're reviewing some codes, some software information that they can make some tweaking to see if it can enhance the situation to make it a better signal going out to the rolling stock, the engines. Engineers, back to your stations. Dave, what do you want to do?
We're going to start running the trains and we're going to do the horn test.
Okay, everybody.
Turn them on.
The system's been updated. Let's turn on the horns, Dave.
Yes.
Turn on your horns and whistles. And keep them off. We're noticing that only the orange part of the signal is going on. Okay, there's some green. But only the yellow is on. Before there was pink. Lionel's running its 4-digit steam locomotive. This is a prototype. That's why it's not painted. Deep throaty sound.
That's correct. We tested worst case scenario today.
Yeah.
And because that way, if we test and can prove out at the worst case scenario, we know that pretty much anything that a consumer would throw at it would work out.
You know, and I wanted to point out that this morning you asked Dave, or you had Dave give some direction to your club members. He said if anybody has any issues to come find me, and I would, try to record those issues. During all of the play testing where we weren't saying, hey, everybody do all the horns at one time,
Yeah.
not a single person pointed out to me that they had an issue. So they were able to do everything they wanted to do with their engines all day, walking around the layout, all the normal distances you'd normally see from a legacy base that you guys were using.
Well, what's nice, we have a lot of familiarity with the Cab 2 system and the Base 2 system, and there's a lot of carryover into the Base 3 program.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
as far as a user out there and the layout running with a Cab 2 is concerned, there's no difference.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's a Base 2 or a Base 3, they're running their legacy engine with a Cab 2 remote.
I'm pretty sure if you hadn't even told them that we were using a Base 3 today, I don't think they would have noticed the difference.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Which is good.
And
That's perfect.
a lot, the nice thing that people were starting to say is the big advantage of the Base 3 is that you only need one controller instead of the legacy controller, the other legacy controller, and what have you.
Yeah, it was nice when we got into Bluetooth testing with
Or
the
not the
Base
legacy,
3.
but the Lion Chief.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
When we got into testing Bluetooth Lion Chief engines and showing some of your members, using a cab 2 or the cab 3 app to control one of those engines directly through the base 3. I mean, it definitely seemed to get the gears spinning on what the capabilities were.
Yeah.
Now, like I said yesterday, I just want to say that Lionel really appreciates you guys having us out and working with us testing, and all the club members that showed up and ran, and for you two specifically, and Mike as well, for helping us with the technical and testing and getting it all put together.
Yeah, Michael Fraden.
Yep, you guys have been key to a successful beta test adventure.
New club cars.